Hey everybody, it's JJ and welcome back to another video. I am very excited for this one tonight because tonight we are going to be talking about one of my favorite fantasy series that I have read. Now, I understand that a lot of people don't like this fantasy series simply because it is different than your standard fantasy, epic fantasy, I guess, in a way, and that's okay. But we're going to be talking about book 2 in the Dark Tower series, of course, and that is The Drawing of Three. Now, full disclosure, there's going to be minor spoilers in this video, but more importantly, there's going to be a few spoilers for the gunslinger in this. Now, when I first read the gunslinger, like a lot of people, I struggled through it. I wanted to claw my eyes out. It was slow. It was pacing just was not doing it for me. The character development was just depressing, and I just struggled through it. I did finish it, and I put it down, and I just thought to myself, this was horrible, and I did not want to continue with the series. But everybody kept saying, get to drawing of the three, get to drawing of the three. It really picks up. And I finally picked up the drawing of the three. And I have read this one at least twice now. And it changes my complete perspective over what the Dark Tower really was. This picks up right after the gunslinger leaves off. Roland, our hero, is on the beach. He is struggling, and there are these things called the lobstrosities. Wow, I can't believe I actually said that right. And they are like flesh eating, finger picking, man killing type of lobsters is really what they are, and they are terrifying. And one of the things that works in this story, especially right at the beginning, is it's like a ticking time bomb. You keep asking yourself the question, is Roland going to survive? Is he going to get through this? Because he is struggling. And one of the things that we see right out of the gate is we see these three doors that are on the beach, and Roland steps through the doors. And when he goes through the doors, it's kind of interesting because this allows him to cross over from his world into our world and into the mind of somebody else. And the person's mind that he is in, they can hear him, they can hear his thoughts or his words and things like that. And it's sort of trippy. And the first person that he steps into the mind of is a drug addict by the name of Eddie. Eddie is literally one of my favorite characters in all of fiction. He's one of my favorite heroes because he is the least likely hero, but his banter and his struggle with his addiction and his deep, horrible flaws just make him a likable character. You find yourself wanting to root for this guy who is a drug smuggler and into some of the worst things imaginable, and you continue time and time again to root for Eddie. I absolutely love him. He's become somebody who's very sympathetic in the way he helps Roland get the medicine that he needs and helps push him across the beach as Roland continues the struggle through the poison sifting through his veins and all of that. Eddie is an amazing character, and it is, in my opinion, some of Stephen King's best character work and all of the stories that he has ever written. And then you come to the third door, which is Odetta or Detta. And I know that sounds confusing, but it's a young woman who is wheelchair bound, and she struggles with dissociative identity disorder, and she's a civil rights activist, and she's in a wheelchair. And Odetta is this sweet, innocent, amazing, compassionate conviction type of character that you love, and you just admire everything about her. Detta, the other side of her, is just pure venom and pure evil. And it comes this struggle really between the two characters that really brings out Eddie's character as well as Roland's character. And when Roland has to step into the mind of Odetta and then she becomes Detta, it's very devastating and terrifying, the things that Roland sees, and he doesn't quite understand it. And as they go down a little bit further, after Odetta comes into Roland's world, it is now Odetta and it is Roland, and they come to the third door, which is a very interesting character by the name of Jack Mort. Jack Mort does not cross over into Roland's world. Jack Mort is evil, evil in human form, and Roland struggles with his personal morality throughout this entire encounter. And you start to ask yourself, how far will Roland go? And eventually, after Odetta and Eddie are in the same world with Roland, this becomes the quartet for Roland, which is this fellowship that starts heading towards the Dark Tower. Some of the things I love about this story is the mirrorization between Eddie's addiction and Roland's obsession with getting to the Dark Tower. And everybody knows that Stephen King struggled with alcohol and drug abuse through most of his early career. And you have to ask yourself how much of King is actually writing himself into these stories, which we have seen him do many times before. It is an amazing story of love between Eddie and Odetta, and just the willingness that they are willing to go towards helping Roland reach the Dark Tower, even though they don't know why. But the thing about it is that both of them, for the first time in many years and many years of their life, finally feel as if they have some sort of purpose. And I think that's the thing that makes the Dark Tower amazing. Is the Dark Tower is one of the stories that takes some of the most unlikely characters, even Roland himself, and basically makes him somebody that you would not expect to be the hero that you choose to go on a journey with. And then the people that he chooses to surround himself, both Odetta and who later comes Susan. And I know that's confusing, and you have to read the novel to really understand it. But the quartet between him and Susan and uh, Eddie is again just unlikely. These are not the type of characters that you would see Frodo going on a quest to toss the ring into Mordor, or Edmund and Lucy, partnering with Aslan or anything like that. These are characters who should not be here. These are characters that should not be going on this journey. Yet time and time again, you have to cheer for them. And I think one of the reasons that we choose to cheer for them is because we see ourselves reflected into these characters. Every single one of us at some point in our lives has felt incomplete. Every single one of us in some point of our lives has been obsessed with something that we just can't let go. Maybe it's not a heroin addiction like Eddie, but we've been obsessed, whether it's a thought or insecurity or depression or anything like that. And we continue to just try and figure out a way to overcome that obsession. And that's really what the story is about in The Drawing of Three. It's bringing unlikely heroes together to go on a quest towards the Dark Tower and to face challenges together. Again, I absolutely love The Drawing of the Three. After I read this book, I went back and I read The Gunslinger again, and I saw The Gunslinger through a different set of eyes. And as I read The Gunslinger, it began to open up The Drawing of Three even wider for me. I'm going to continue to do the reviews on each Dark Tower book, but I wanted to start with The Drawing of Three because it is my favorite book in the entire series. But not only that, it's the perfect introduction to the Dark Tower if you just don't really want to deal with the Gunslinger and the slow pace. I usually tell people, go ahead and start with The Drawing of Three. Just understand the hero's name is Roland. So there you go. The Drawing of Three by Stephen King. I cannot recommend it enough. I cannot recommend the Dark Tower series, and I cannot wait to dive into more of these books in this series. If you've read the Dark Tower, you've read the Drawing of the Three, comment below. Let me know what your thoughts. Maybe you do disagree, and that's okay. We can all disagree because fiction speaks to us all in different ways. But really, let me know what your favorite book in the Dark Tower series is, and let me know if you begin to check it out. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video. Later.